Well, good morning, everybody. This is Richard Wishart from Cambridgeshire on Cam's Hour, talking about perspective. So, welcome to Cam's Hour. We're going to I run Cam's Hour every day, every working day, from 9 o'clock, and it's normally about 20 minutes to 30 minutes. We talk about connecting Cambridgeshire business with the world. And today, the subject, or the topic that I've chosen for today's chat is about perspective. So welcome to Cam's Hour. Welcome on board. And let me just, on the screen, I always put up a picture of some relevance to the topic. So let me just show you this picture here. So this is the River Great Ouse at Houghton, which is about a mile away from where I live. And I went down there with my wife last night for a bar snack. And then after we had our meal, we went and walked down by the river. So this is down by the locks at Houghton on the river. It's a lovely part of the world. And we got down there, and just as the sun was setting, it was a lovely red sunset. So we thought, oh, let's sit on the bench and have a look. So here we were sitting on a bench looking out, and the weather was just fantastic. It was the right sunshine, the right clouds, the right reflection in the river and everything. So the perspective was absolutely correct. And this is what I really mean by perspective, as perspective from a business owner's perspective. And what you've really got to do during the summer break, where we are at the moment, August, normally fairly quiet, it's a time for business owners to reflect on their business, where it's going, and get a perspective. So the perspective of a change, say, in the marketplace, is very different from a business owner's perspective, or a user's perspective, or a supplier's perspective. It may be a completely different perspective from somebody in the UK to somebody in France or Germany. So you really got to understand and take into account the various perspectives that people can get. So this is a beautiful view. You could have walked down by the river today and you'd probably get a very different view, maybe a bit duller, and no sunshine, the wind's in a slightly different direction. I might not stand in the same place on the bank to get the picture, so the perspective is completely different. So you can go down to the river, and even from the same spot, you can take a picture every day. And hi Grant, that's good to have you on board. My topic for this morning is one of perspective, perspective from a business owner's view of their business, and what their perspective is, and what the perspective of their customers are, what the perspective of the industry is. And actually, it's a really important time during the summer holidays or the summer break for business owners just to take a step back and just to re-establish their perspective of the industry they're in, what they're doing, and how that industry and what they're doing is moving forward. And this is a picture I took last night down by the river, and it just caught it perfectly for me. This was the right time, clouds in the right position, the sun's in the right position, the reflection in the river's in the right position. So this was a particular perspective, and it was an inspiring perspective, more to the point. I could go down there today, and the vibes would be completely different. So you look at the world through your own lens, and you get one view, and it doesn't do any harm. And the summer break is a good time for it to actually take a step back and look at it from other people's perspectives and reevaluate your perspective on what you're doing. So that's the topic for this morning. Welcome on board. I'll turn us around so you can see who's talking to you. That's a bit slow this morning. Come on. There we go. Come on. There we go. Sorry, the screen's not reacting quite as quickly as I thought this morning. Oh, we've gone back. So we have a camera that's not wanting to play ball this morning. Let's try again. There we go. So here we are. So this is me in my office on a Friday morning. all suited and booted. I've got a couple of meetings this morning. I'm going out and doing some networking later on as well. But I think it's important on a Friday. Friday is my reset day. So I reevaluate what I've been doing the previous week, and I reset it for the next week. But what I do, Friday is also my networking day as well. So going out to see a business owner in Huntingdon that I work with on one of my networks, and then I'm going down to St Ives. Huntingdonshire Business Network has August off, but we still run informal meetings, and today's informal meeting is at the Norris Museum. Chris Thomas has organised that we can have a table down there and some coffee. So it's just an informal chat, get together. But this is important because, as I say, Friday's my reset day, and when you're doing this sort of reset, it's a bit like Periscope. You've got to tell people what you're doing and reset yourself every so often during the cast. Resetting yourself on a Friday is important, but to be able to reset yourself properly, you need to gain some other perspectives. So perspectives from fellow small business owners, from your suppliers, from your customers, and just pick up the vibes that are going around, and then reset your business or reset yourself for the next week about your objectives, what you want to achieve, etc. So I find my Friday is really important. It's the most important day of the week for me. I review what I've managed to do in the previous week. I think about taking all the inputs, all the perspectives from other people, maybe even chew over some ideas with my networking buddies in Huntingdonshire Business Network, saying, I think I've had this experience, I'm thinking about doing this next week, what do you think? Getting their feedback, getting their buy-in, getting their view. And you've really got to, I'm not getting my Periscope sessions interactive enough. I need to be getting more feedback and more involvement from other people on the scopes. I do realise that. But I've got to, I'm seeking, and most people are seeking, other people's views, other people's perspectives, other people's views on what you're doing. And it's really good to be able to choose something like this over on a particularly on Periscope, but particularly on a Friday. So the reflective topic for today is perspective. So is anybody else using the summer break as an opportunity to reflect on their business, reflect on where their business is going, and sorting out, getting their mindset, getting their business head retuned for what's going to be happening next week, next month, next year? Anybody else doing it, or is it just me? Is it something that is a Richard Wishart preoccupation and maybe not done by too many? During the normal week, in the busy time of the year, I don't know whether you're the same, but I'm so tied up in the minutiae of my business. You've got to funnel down, focus down on what you're doing, making sure that you've got all you're paying attention to the detail. You're making sure that your deliverables are being delivered on the date, making sure that your invoices go out, make sure your accounts are up to date, make sure that your business meetings are taking place where they should be taking place, and doing your outreach, your marketing, your sales. So you're very much down in the minutiae of your business. But during the summer, to get perspective, you can raise yourself up to a higher level. So you're not down amongst the, especially like I heard people using when I was in the military, was you're not down amongst the muck and the bullets. You're actually up in the helicopter. So the summer about getting this perspective is get the helicopter perspective. So come up from the muck and the bullets, take the opportunity of August, the superb opportunity of August, with the nice weather and the everybody on holiday, but everybody light-hearted and enjoyable mood. Get yourself up in your helicopter and have a look around. Make sure that the business you're in, the market you're in, is still viable. Make sure that it hasn't changed while you haven't been looking, while you haven't been paying attention. Make sure that understand what customers now are thinking about or talking about, and how you can tailor your offer to meet their requirements. And it's a good time to reflection becomes even more important if you think that back in the day, someone, if coming out of school or university, would join an organisation and they'd stay with that organisation for their entire life, and at the end they'd retire, they'd get the pension, and that would be their life. That's not true anymore. It really isn't. If you're in a large organisation, yes, things will appear to maybe be take longer to change because it's hard to change large organisations. But most large organisations, most corporates now go through a major voluntary redundancy, restructuring. These sort of things in large businesses happen every year. It's now probably every 6 months, but major change. So nobody is secure. And particularly if you're a micro business, you're not secure either. But what you've got is the ability to change. You've got the ability as a small business owner to retarget your business, to refocus your business, to continually refocus. Not so much that you confuse your audience, but you can be steering your business in whatever direction you want. So you can actually, the power is within your hands. You can subtly change the direction. You can severely change the direction. You can actually stop to gain perspective, or you can plow on really fast ahead of other people. So everything is in your hands. Everything is in your hands, and it's completely up to you. But to do that successfully from a small business owner point of view, is you do need a perspective. And for a perspective, you've got to either be disciplined enough to say, okay, I'm just going to take a week out, and I'm going to concentrate on looking at the business strategically and what I've got to do for the coming year. Or if you've got some friends or colleagues or advisors or mentors, have a chat with them. Say, look, I'm just taking a week out in the middle of August. How about meeting up for a beer or something, or going out for a cup of coffee? I'll buy it. If I can have half an hour of your time just to review where I am as a business, where I'm going, and what I need to do. And it's very good to get that external perspective. You can sometimes get it from family, your wife, your husband, etc. You can get it from people within your business, obviously your fellow directors and the people who work in your business. But it's a good idea just to put your, a very good one actually is, we're talking about this product at the moment, which is Periscope. So how about if you're underneath the water, you're struggling to move forward, you're in the dark, you're a small business owner, you're in a damp, clammy, dark submarine. Well, wouldn't it just be nice to stick your Periscope up, a big Periscope, one that can really get up high, and have your Periscope with a big camera view, and actually just have a look around, have a look at what's in front of you, have a look at what's behind you, have a look at what's to the side of you, have a look at your competitors, people that are not competing with you, the supplier. Actually look at your ecosystem, look at the world from your business perspective. You're still the person who drives your business, you're still the person driving your submarine. But hey, wouldn't it be great to actually stick your Periscope up and have a really good look around, see what's happening? Is your industry still relevant? Is your business route still relevant? How do you change your business? How do you change your position in the industry to get more traction? A good example is maybe, if you're in, a lot of people on Periscope at the moment are on social media experts. Well, hey, wouldn't it be a good idea to say, what would I call myself? I call myself a social media expert. Well, what is a social media expert? So that you challenge yourself on that side. And then you say, well, I'm a social media expert on LinkedIn or Google, but now we've got Periscope and now we've got other products coming out. So should I expand what I say I do, so a number of products? Or should I think about, well, if I'm a social media expert, what does that mean? How am I different from Joe Blogs down the road who's doing something on Twitter? How am I different from Mary, somebody down the road doing something on Facebook? And you say, well, is social media still relevant? If I'm talking about this in a year's time, will people still be talking about social media? Or will the world have moved on? Will the world be talking about, instead of social media, will they be talking about broadcast media? Will they be talking about will it all have become more about content marketing across multiple channels? So you've actually got to think about how the industry and how the technology is evolving. So, and often when you're doing these scopes as well, there's things that come to you that you probably wouldn't come to unless you're actually having to publicly put your thoughts out on a cast. And yesterday there was a classic one of that. It was really, when you're talking about social media, I got into talking about the platforms and then also the ecosystems, which of course are different. There's two bits to social media. There's the technology parts, the Twitters, the Facebooks, the Periscopes, and then there's the ecosystems. And the ecosystems are, you may be talking in a very narrow business ecosystem like myself, or you may be somebody who's talking about the celebrity, whatever. So you've got your ecosystem and you've got your platforms, and you've got to make sure your platforms are viable, and you've got enough people on the platforms to have a meaningful discussion. But you've also got to be talking about your ecosystem and the people in your industry and where they are, what platforms they are. So it's a really difficult, there's some difficult thinking. It's not something for the faint-hearted. And if you're a business owner, you've really got to have this in your brain. And yes, during the summer, during the August months, you can take some time out to think about it in a very serious way, and set big changes in direction or big ideas for what you want to do in the forthcoming year. But it's something you've got to have on your agenda all year. So you should be rethinking, restructuring, rebuilding, refocusing, continual refocusing almost continuously as a business owner. Not losing or confusing your customers and suppliers, but actually having a very clear direction, a very clearly articulated direction, and a very clear logic if you're wanting to change direction, so that you can change direction and also take your followers and your friends with you. So yeah, I'm going down this way, guys. You've seen me going down this way for the last 6 months. I now want to do a subtle change in direction to here. Do you think that's a good idea? If I do that, how can I make the best advantage of going in this new direction? What do I need to do? What do you think? Can you help me? Put out to your customers, I'm thinking about doing this. Do you think this is a good idea? Get them on side with what you're doing. So it's about really being very open, very articulate about what you're doing, your direction, and from a small business owner's perspective, that's perspective again. Perspective is really important, and as a small business owner, you've got to think not just about your own personal perspective, but you've got to think about the perspective of the industry, the political environment, the economic environment, and everything else. So you've really got to be quite sharp on your strategies. That's not to say you've got to, in the past, if you're a big business, you maybe bring in Price Waterhouse or one of the big consultancies to help you with your strategies. I'm not at all talking about that. I'm talking about you as a business owner finding people who can help you with and chew over changes in direction in your business and where you need to go. So, not a rant this morning, but a little bit more contemplative than what I've done previously. Going to keep it fairly short this morning. I hope you've enjoyed this chat. I've been doing some slight changes on the technology this week. So yesterday I set myself up on Catch. So this goes live on Catch. From Catch I download it as a video, and then I put it up on YouTube, LinkedIn, Google Plus, and Twitter. So I'm just keeping going with. We haven't had too many people on this morning. I don't know whether the people really have gone on holiday today. I hope not. I'm all suited and booted. I'm going out to do some networking. I meet up with my HBN buddies at 12:30 at the Norris Museum in St Ives. And if you're there, please drop in and have a coffee and have a chat. And I'm going to reset my business, and I'm going to get other people's perspectives, and I'm going to listen, and I communicate and listen at the same time, and I'm trying to listen as much as I can today. So good. Thanks for joining me. I do appreciate your time. Not too much interaction on today. I must actually focus next week. Next week will be interaction week. I'll be forcing interaction. I hope you found this interesting. Thanks very much for your attention. See you next week. Bye.